All right, how's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. We have a three-gamer to talk about tonight, and a bunch of big names. So even on the short slates, we've got lucky with some big names: McKinnon, Bergeron, Pasternak. Ovechkin. Should be a pretty fun night, I think, for watching these games. So hopefully these are on. Otherwise, I guess I'll just have to stream it with my NHL package or whatever. But yeah, these look like some pretty good games, and even the bad one, I guess that one might even be the best for DFS. Oddly enough, so we'll do that. We'll go through every game. We will talk about last night. I see you guys already talking about last night in the chat. So hopefully you guys had some success, and we'll talk about the free stuff, and then any sort of strategy. If you guys have strategy questions or whatever, a couple people were asking me just random stuff in the Slack chat today, and so if you want to, talk about strategy or have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up. Short slates is the best time to do that. Yeah, Dallas won. Yikes. They weren't that great, I don't think. You have Weber projected way higher than John Carlson. It's a better matchup for Weber, I guess. I think so I think ownership is free today. Yeah, this is free today. So let's start with this. NHL ownership projections from DraftKings. Those are free today. So follow along. I'll reference some numbers along the way. Get a peek behind the paywall. And if you want to use promo code Hit the Ice for 50% off your first month of any Osmo Plus package, that deal is expiring actually very soon. So there will be more information to come on that. But if you're thinking about signing up and locking yourself in for a month and you want the 50% off the first month, you should do it within the next couple days, because that deal is likely going away. NFL ownership projections, those are free. NBA live blog from Osmo himself. If you're playing NBA, and I think it might be a good night to do so, use some of the tools on our site if you have Platinum or whatever, or just use this and make some lineups. Really interesting concept here, the NBA live blog. Alex says it's a pretty light day of news, but he will go through and kind of break down how news is affecting his process. We know news and notes are throughout the day can really swing the slate for NBA DFS. So I'm contemplating playing some NBA. Might go play over on Yahoo, honestly. I've been having some pretty good success playing NHL over on Yahoo, and they've got some nice NBA contests, up to 4K entries here tonight in their 35K baller. 12.5% management fee. Can certainly deal with that. 120 max, but I doubt a lot of people are 120 maxing this, to be honest. You might get a couple pros in there, but I would guess not too many. A lot of them are playing on DraftKings and FanDuel, but if you like money, if you like saving money, Yahoo is a great place to play. I will be getting in this $12 tournament once again. Again, lost money last night on DraftKings, but my count on Yahoo just keeps creeping up and up and up with these NHL contests. I know they're small, and hopefully they can continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think there's no reason you shouldn't be taking advantage of this. Like, you're researching the slate anyways. It's not that different of a gameplay. And you can get helped out by getting up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points with promo code OSMO if you would like to sign up for Yahoo. They allow Canadians to play now too. They have for a little bit. So if you're Canadian, like Nolan, and you want to get in on this, I saw Nolan was playing over on Yahoo last night. You're allowed to play now. I think, is Florida allowed to play? I don't know about Florida. I think Jeffrey in chat says I play on Yahoo. Yeah, no reason not to. Big NFL contest as well. So you're just missing out if you're not playing over on Yahoo. They sponsor us, so help them out. They help us out, and I've been playing over there a lot, and I like it. Okay, For lineup study, I'd love to review a single entry versus 20 max, 150 max from the same slate and discuss the differences. Sure. Sure, we can look at a single entry and see what some of the top guys are doing. Okay, so I had the 295 up, draft charts. Got in second place here, maxed it out, and then Dollar Bill took it down with just one entry. Dollar Bill more of a max entry player, but one entry, kind of weird. Aho Niederreiter, Teravainen had one of the better stacks in the night. Full stacks didn't really go off that much. Got the late goal from Dougie, Fleury, Carlson Smith, left off Marchessault. That was key because I think Marchessault, unless he scored late when I was asleep or whatever, I don't really know. I don't think he was fantastic. Fleury only 3.1% owned in this tournament. Had a great chance at a win. Vegas dominated. Could have even won this tournament by more if Fleury would have kept the shutout. So great lineup there. 3-2-1. Nothing weird. In the $10, we have another single entry player. Taking it down. Scotty Max 77. Let's see what he had. McDavid, Nygaard, Kassian. So he had the full stack with Aho and Ryan Zingle. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or if he was just running a 3-man with no stack afterwards. Tavares, couple goals last night, 36.8 DK points. That was huge. Didn't even get the win with his goalie, but and played a defenseman against this goalie as well. So, yeah, Nashville was playing San Jose last night. Interesting. Neil Pionk was a decent value. I know we had him graded out pretty well. But a bunch of low-owned guys here. Kassian, Nygaard, Zingle. Man, McDavid was really low-owned. I would have gone heavier on McDavid had I known he was going to be this low. Like, I thought it would be well above 10% because he usually is. But Toronto was chalkier than I expected. I think Alex was right on that. Yeah, it was an interesting slate for the MME guys. If we want to look at mine just for transparency, lost an even $600. Had some decent lineups. I was never really contending, but figured I would break even maybe at best. My best one here was Tavares, Hyman, Marner, Dallas 2. Yeah, they didn't really do much. Nurse, Yossi, Bishop kind of got bailed out by Yossi at the end with the empty net assist. Wasn't really a great night for me. Felt like I was on most of the good stuff, but ultimately didn't end up working out. Couldn't find some good combos together. I was in top 20 until the last Toronto goals. Still placed around 120 on a single entry. Nice, that's impressive. Single entry's tough. Let's look at what was the big single entry tournament last night? The 1,500. Let's look at the $12. So pros, any pro can play this. Anyone on the site really can play this. What did we say the top score was in MME? 160 something? 163? People run cashier lineups here. Buffalo 2-man with Allmark, so some correlation there. Scheifele one off, Pearson one off, Tavares one off, Marino, Lindell. This was and Riley Smith also one off. So this was, basically unstacked. Outside of the 2-man Buffalo one, in general, I'm still looking. I would still be looking to stack in my single entry lineup, especially on a big slate like that. Maybe you don't have to do the 4-3-1 or whatever, like max correlation, but I would still be trying to maybe get a 3-3 or a 3-2-1 or something like that. If you can find a good combo, you still want to get different, but that wouldn't be a lineup that I would end up on. That's probably a cash lineup if I had to guess. This is a familiar player. Let's see. Yeah, the stream started. Just refresh. Tavares, Marner. So this is more what I would be looking to do. Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen, Hamilton. So you got a 4-man, 4-2, Tavares, Marner, leave off Hyman, no problem with that. Jordy Ben, Lundqvist, guy was going to see a bunch of volume, at least projected to see a bunch of volume. Keller, one off, 4,400. I thought there were maybe a couple better guys, but not a bad price for Keller there. And so I like that kind of format for a single entry lineup, especially on a bigger slate. Tonight, 3-2-1 more viable. I think I'm probably running out a lot of 3-2-1s. That just reminds me, I haven't entered my contest yet today. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this. Let me make sure DK still has decent contests out here. I don't want to miss out. Yeah, $10, not even close to being filled. What do we got here? Small mini max, 4-check, only 2K to first. Whatever. I think I'll have time to enter that. I'm not going to waste your guys' time and enter my contest. You can only enter 300 at a time, which is kind of annoying. It always takes so long for me to enter those. Like it loads for like 2 minutes. Get in the 180. I might get in the 180 if it's gonna overlay on DK, but I'm playing on Yahoo again. Like, it's not the majority of my volume, but it just seems so soft over there. So even if we weren't sponsored by Yahoo, I'd probably be saying that. But I'll be playing over there. A lot of 3-2-1 on both sides, on both sites. If you're playing on FanDuel, I'm sure that's viable as well. Let's get into the slate. Let's talk about this. And if you guys get any questions along the way, or if I'm not explaining something correctly, or I'm assuming people know what I'm talking about when I say certain things, then feel free to stop the stream. We got a bunch of time today, and it's only me, so I'll ramble for a while. Plus minus is tough, but what you could do is you can make a limit rule and just say limit. If you have Fantasy Cruncher, you could say limit 3 center wing D from one team or from the same game or something like that, so, or 4, I guess, if you wanted to do a 4-man. There's ways to get around it. You can always manually adjust. I mean, in general, I would try to avoid playing guys like game stacking, but on a 3-game slate, there's some negative correlation playing that guys like that, but it's not the end of the world. Like if you wanted to play Gallagher and Kachuk on the same team, those are 2 guys that can get there with shots on goal or in the same game that are probably going to be matched up, but there might be chances to go around on both sides, especially with the backup in net for Montreal. That's exactly what we do. Nice. We're on the same page then. 6-man Winnipeg stack. Yeah, that would have crushed it. Okay. Bruins, Capitals, 2.9 implied total for the Bruins. 3.2 for the Caps. Yaroslav Halak going for the Bruins. Braden Holtby going for the Caps. Halak starting because I think Boston plays tomorrow night. Not that it matters. Anyways, we're getting Halak. So, normal lines for the Caps as far as the top 6 goes. Eller down to the 3rd line. Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak sound familiar for Boston 1. Coyle, Heinen, Ritchie as the 3rd line, and then Krejci, DeBrusk, and Bjork. I wish DeBrusk would play on Coyle's line, and we could go Coyle, Heinen, DeBrusk. I think that'd be a pretty cool stack, but I'm doing 3-2-1, so it's not like you have to leave on Bjork necessarily, even though he's cheap. It's not like you have to leave on, or I have to leave on Ritchie or anything like that. So we do have ownership, by the way, if you guys want to follow along. I know I mentioned that before, but if you want to follow along, NHL ownership projections are free today, as are NFL. So if you're playing NFL this weekend, you want to get a head start, check those out. Let's see what we've got for this game. So, all right, the game, this is not going to be my most heavily exposed game, but I think from a matchups perspective, you think Kuznetsov will be one of the most owned players on the slate? I don't know that I agree. What do we have him at? Yeah, we don't have him nearly as one of the top players on the slate as far as ownership goes. But if you like him, might be a good chance to go overweight or play him in a single entry or whatever. There's certainly merit to that. So I thought I'm surprised at the ownership. Honestly, I thought that we would see a bunch on, or I thought it'd be pretty even between Washington 1 and Boston 1, and it's really not. So let me just pull this up. So let's see. Yeah, okay, that's refreshed. What we got here is Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. They're pretty popular, and more popular than I expected, right? Like, I thought Montreal would be heavy chalk, and then Colorado won, and that would kind of be it. And maybe both of the top lines in this game would go a little bit overlooked. And, it might present an opportunity, but it looks like that's not actually going to be the case, or it's going to be closer than I anticipated, especially for large field. You are getting a pretty good discount on Boston 1, right? Like Marchand at 6,600, Bergeron 7K, Pasternak, you're getting him probably like 90 cents on the dollar as well, just based on how good he's been. And it makes sense because it's a low implied total, rivalry game or whatever. I think there's like Holtby owns Boston or something. I don't know. It's not something I pay attention to, but this is just stuff that I hear on the internet. So Boston won a little bit more popular than I would like. I think it is a pretty good spot. Like, you look at the numbers for Backstrom, OV, Wilson, going back to last season, they're not strong defensively. This season, though, they have been better defensively, and I think Backstrom probably a better defensive center than Kuznetsov. So if it was Kuznetsov up there, I would probably be hammering Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, even at this ownership. With Backstrom up there, it makes it a little bit tougher. So here's what I got so far. It's like I'm probably going to have exposure to every top line tonight because I'm playing probably 100 lineups, I would say. I might max out the 10, which would be like 140. But regardless, I think I'm probably going to be a little bit over on on Washington 1 and under on Boston. I'm at about half the ownership of Boston 1 with what we have them projected at. So, there's a finite number of lines you can fit them with. When you look at them compared to, here, let's see. Let me sort by DK price here for the full stack. When you look at them compared to Colorado 1, they are, let's see, they're about the same stack ownership if you take the average. They're way more popular than Washington 1. They are more popular than Montreal 1. And so I'm getting more exposure to the other lines. Verena cannot be ignored. Verena's been really good, and good situation here for him playing with Kuznetsov and Oshie, I think. However, those lines haven't been great. That line has not been great defensively either. So Coyle Heinen, I like as a two-man stack on Boston. Krejci, he's 4,500, so he's priced correctly probably. But I hope Kuznetsov, Verana, and Oshie sees more of the Coyle Heinen duo because I like them for 8,200 as a two-man. That will be one that I'll be getting to quite a bit. I think you can one-off Coyle at 4,300 or 4,400 if you're looking for kind of a guy in the mid-tier that's not going to be owned. But yeah, I expected it. I was going to be pretty heavy on Boston 1. Not quite the case right now. And that kind of stinks. It's always worrisome. It's not like I'm going to have zero, like I said, but they're a really fun line to watch. They're a really scary line to fade especially when you're trying to watch this game. And so, I'm just going where the ownership's taking me, and Washington 1 and Boston 1 are similar for me. You can leave off Wilson if you want. I probably wouldn't necessarily want off Wilson. I know that's worked a couple times this year for people, and like banking with Wilson as the one-off. $4,800. I'd probably want to include Ovi with most of my Wilson lineups, or a defenseman or something like that. NBCSN gave us 2 good games to watch tonight. Oh, nice. Is the so I figured this game would be on NBCSN. Is this one too? Because if so, that's a pretty good back-to-back. You get to watch Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand, Ovi, Backstrom, Kuznetsov, Carlson, and then you get to fire it up with Colorado 1, and then load it up Philly 1. That's pretty cool. 3-2-1. So this is one that I always forget. Thank you for mentioning that. Like, I just toss out the phrase 3-2-1. A 3-2-1 is just 3 forwards from the same line. So it'd be like this. Stack up Washington 1, 2 forwards from another line. Let's say you like Krejci, DeBrusk, and then a one-off from, let's say you like Gallagher or someone like that. That would be a 3-2-1. You've got your 3 Washington 1 guys, your 2 Boston 2, and then your one-off from another team. 3-2-1 is referring to on DraftKings or FanDuel where you have 6 forwards. Yeah, I should just probably explain that like every few streams because someone's always asking me about that. So my bad. Certainly a good question. Okay, defenseman here. We've got Carlson being pretty low owned. Like, someone's got to go under owned, right? On the cap side, or between Caps 1 and Carlson, their pricing is restrictive. It's really hard to play all of them. I'm finding it not that difficult to get in a lot of Carlson. And anytime you can play what's, a top 2 defenseman at kind of an ownership discount, like he's been just insane this season, I like it. So Carlson right now, one of my highest exposed players. I'm probably going to be close to double or maybe even more than double his ownership that we have projected. And I feel pretty good about that. Like, I'm over on Ovi a little bit, and certainly over on Carlson, and he goes well with either of the top 2 lines. Kuznetsov, Oshie. You could go like Kuznetsov, Verana, and Ovi stack with Carlson if you can somehow. Well, that's even more expensive than Washington 1, actually. So you can get creative with Washington 1. I like Ovi and Carlson as the anchors, though. Yeah, Carlson, of course he's going to regress. Of course. But pretty good chance he's a top, 2 or 3 scoring defenseman on this slate, even though it is a tough matchup. If Washington does have an outlier performance and scores 4 or 5 goals, like, pretty good chance you're going to get a couple points out of Carlson just based on, their power play. Oh, Carlson's price is down. They're not even raising it anymore. He was at 7,700 a few nights ago, 7,800. So this is, you're getting a discount over here on Carlson. No, I'm kind of kidding, but he's been that good to where he should probably be a $7,200 defenseman, even in not the nut matchup. So Backstrom, Ovi, Wilson, probably going to see a lot of time against Kuznetsov, Marchand, Pastrnak. I think Washington it would be kind of ridiculous of them to try to match Kuznetsov against Bergeron. So that's how I'm treating it. Do we have ownership for FanDuel for NHL? We don't yet. Courtney, good question. We are working on that. DraftKings is still in beta, so it's not perfect yet. It's not quite at the level we want it yet, but it is. I think we're getting there. We're getting more data, and that's going to help for when we have when we offer FanDuel ownership as well. So we're kind of in beta on DraftKings, trying to get it right there, and then hopefully that will be able to lead us in the right direction for FanDuel as well. There will be a fight in this game? Might be. There were a couple fights last night. I think you can go with McAvoy or Krug. Nice price on Krug, especially if you're playing Boston 1. They're cheap. So that's driving up the ownership, and it's understandable. You get to play an elite line at a discount in, a neutral 5-on-5 spot, and you can play Krug with them. I think you can play McAvoy with them as well. But those would be the two guys I'd probably want to stick to if I'm stacking up Boston 1, unless you're just completely punting with Carlo or Moore or something like that. Brad will fight back. Who's he going to fight? I don't know. Like I mentioned, secondary combos here. Kuznetsov, Verana. You can stick in Oshie if you want. Coyle, Heinen, I like a little bit for Boston here. Anyone? Does he fight that much? He just takes cheap shots. I don't think he gets in fights too often. Goalies are tough tonight. Yeah, goalies are tough every night. The last few nights, no one really sticks out for me. I ran a crunch before the show, and I had 5 of the 6 goalies that are starting between 14% and 23%. When I took out some of these lineups that I think were bad lineups or negative expected value lineups, let's see, my highest owned guy was actually Holtby at 27%, but it's going to be pretty flat across the board. Yeah. Posse gonna have to keep his head up. Yeah, I guess Wilson on the ice. There you go. Wilson and Marchand, maybe they could take each other out or something. No real punts on the cap side. I guess Kempe's price is coming down. He plays decent minutes, and he plays with Carlson and Ovi and Backstrom and Wilson. So not bad. Okay. Let's go to Ottawa and Montreal. 2.9 implied total for the Sens. We got a 3.7 implied total for Montreal. This game rocks, I think. Anders Nilsson and Caden Primo expected to go for Montreal. Carey Price went last night. Montreal, impressive win against Pittsburgh. So trying to turn things around there. Not expecting that, especially when Pitt 1 came right out, scored the full line goal. I was like, yeah, Pitt 1 night, baby. Like Brian Rust at 6,500 or whatever, he was going to, win all the money for me. And then they shut him down they didn't shut him down, but they limited them pretty well after that. I don't think they scored again. Yeah, there's a ton to like. I agree with you, Frank. That's putting it lightly. So, yeah, the Anders Nilsson, Primo in net, like I said, 6.5 total, shading towards the over. Dano, Tatar, Gallagher, that's probably going to be my top owned stack on the slate. As far as full stacks go, they're fully correlated. They are awesome at 5-on-5, nearly 80 shot attempts per 60. I guess the one bad thing you could say about them is not an elite matchup at 5-on-5. Like, they're probably going to get the toughest spot at 5-on-5 against Peugeot, Kachuk, and Brown. That line's not a pushover. Even when Ottawa's getting caved in some of these games, that line's really not, I've noticed. So that's the one bad thing you can say, but the price is outrageous. I think Montreal Josh stack. If I was Josh stacking one team, it would be Montreal. Top line will be popular. Not as popular as I think it should be. Like this, I thought this had the makings of just like mega chalk, like 30+%. And right now it's only Gallagher, like 30+% as a full stack type of thing with Montreal 1. And that's not really the case right now. We've got Gallagher up there as one of the highest known skaters, but he's still below Bergeron, Pasternak, and McKinnon. And Dano, under 20%. Tatar, under 18%, 17.5. Like, this is a bargain for a number of reasons. I think the ownership is not where it should be, just based on how good this line is. Domi, Lehkonen, Armia, also a line that could generate 5-on-5 chances. They're going to get a good matchup. These two lines got smoked last game, Nisimov line and Tierney line especially. So I know Duclair had the couple goals or whatever. And, maybe he could score a goal again, whether it's 5-on-5 or on the power play or whatever. But if I'm going to the Ottawa side, it's mostly with Peugeot and Tkachuk and Brown. Peugeot is 5,500. He's not going to project as like a super hot value, but Montreal is giving up more chances than I anticipated a couple weeks ago. And I love Tkachuk for 5,400 basically whenever. I think he's going to see a lot of ice time. Connor Brown, like kind of doing things, and he's 4K, and he's playing like 20 minutes, and he's playing with solid players. So I'm playing Connor Brown is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that, I wouldn't talk anyone off of getting off of Connor Brown or whatever, but I'm playing him. I'm hammering the top two lines in this game. Probably going to be two of my highest owned. The one thing that's concerning is that they're going to see a lot of ice time against each other, so maybe there's some unnecessary negative correlation between two of my top exposed stacks. But if I'm right on one of them, it might be a really good night, especially if it's Ottawa 1. Tkachuk really the only one getting a bunch of ownership. Let's see. Domi, Armia, I like that mini. I love Armia. It's Yoel, actually. It's not Joel. And that makes sense, right? He's not. I don't think he's American. With a name like Yoel, pronunciation like Yoel, you're probably not American. Then it would just be Joel. So Yoel is a guy that I really like as a one-off. Just shooting a crazy amount. Scored last night. Playing with Domi, playing with Lehkonen. I think that's a pretty favorable spot for him, even at 5,200. So, yes, he's probably a little bit overpriced for what he has been over the last year or so, but he's playing like a $5,200 player, even more than that, just based on his shot rates and stuff lately. So I like that a lot. Suzuki, I think you can. So I've actually got a lot of Montreal like 5-man stacks and Josh stacks. I think this is the best team to Josh stack tonight. Josh stack is a 6-man stack, usually correlated with a goalie from the same team, where you're just saying, all right, I'm trying to catch 2 lines production. Usually like to do it on a shorter slate, and hope that team scores 5 or 6 goals. Now, Montreal has the highest implied total, so I'm not saying anything ridiculous here. I think you could do it with Colorado as well. Those would probably be the 2 teams I would be looking to do it with, and it's just going to be a lower owned combo. Like, people will have Montreal 1, people will have Montreal 2, they'll have Montreal 3 to some extent, but will a lot of people be willing to kind of put all their eggs in one basket like that? And you've still got a bunch of salary left over. So the pricing is super, super favorable, especially if you're trying to Josh stack it. I will be having a bunch of these tonight. Right now, I'm over on both of the top 2 lines, and actually, where am I at on like Suzuki? Let's see, Suzuki and it's Jordan Wheel, and I don't know if I have Wheel in this, so whatever. I'm gonna have some of the third line as well. Josh stacking Montreal with Nilsson and Net. I don't know if I'd go that far. Right now, I'm not allowing a player against my goalie. I usually do on 2 gamers. I think maybe you just figure out a way to allow a player against Nilsson. Even if he lets up a couple goals, he's probably going to see enough volume that he's going to be okay, especially if you can get the nut performance where, whether it's a Gallagher, Tatar, Domi, or Armia, where they score a goal, but Ottawa wins 2-1 in a high event game. Maybe you get the nut outcome and a unique combo there. So Nilsson would probably be the one I would consider it with. Keep an eye on Primo if he's going to start. Could potentially be Price again. I know they've done that a little bit lately. Yeah, Vots is saying wheel in chat, $2,500, not bad. This third line is dirt cheap. So if you're 3-3 stacking, like that's going to come up with Boston 1 and Washington 1 and Colorado 1, and it makes perfect sense why. High total, third line. It's pretty obvious who you pair them with, right? Duclair, Domestikov. I'm mostly just playing Duclair one-offs. Once again, like I don't even know if I have. Do I have Tierney? Yeah, I've got like a couple shares of Tierney, but like way more Duclair one-offs. Like he's just a guy that Cliffy's talked about, and he makes a good point. It's guys that can create their own offense. So even if they're not playing with a great line or something like that, $4,500 for a guy that can score a couple goals, as we saw last game. And you might not get that 2 games in a row, but he could certainly score a goal here or have a multi-point performance if the rest of his line doesn't go off. So I'm willing to take some one-offs like him. Stacking is more viable the higher the team total, right? I think stacking is always viable because if you're looking for an outlier performance, which Alex talks about all the time, so I'm kind of stealing this from him, as I do a lot of things. If you're looking for an outlier performance in hockey, you can have up to 3 guys recording a point on one play. And yeah, why wouldn't? I mean, stacking increases your upside. So I think regardless of the team total, you should be at least considering stacks. Not saying you have to do it for every team tonight, but if you're talking about Josh stacking, yeah, I think Josh stacking, 6-man stacking is certainly in general better the higher the team total is. And you're still going to be unique. Like not a lot of people do this, it seems like. Not as many people as they should, I think. But this is the clear spot for me. You also got a couple of really good defensemen you can play, Weber and Petrie. And I think you can play them with either line. Like you don't have to not include Petrie in like your Domi line stacks just because he's not in the power play with them. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can play him in the same lineup. Weber goes a little bit better with Domi and Armia. Petrie obviously goes much better with Montreal 1. But Petrie is probably going to be my highest owned player of the slate. We got his ownership at 22.2%. I'm probably going to be double that. Maybe even a bit more. Maybe, yeah. Gallagher's going to be my highest owned guy at 62. And I'll have a lot of Petrie Gallagher 2-mans and stuff like that. Gallagher's kind of my anchor tonight. Hard to see a scenario in which he doesn't record at least a few shots on goal. Like 6,200 is a crazy price for him right now. So he's going to be my guy, but he's everyone's guy. I mean, he's pretty obvious. He's an obvious play. Game logs look good. He's fantastic. No Ryan Graves chasing. Let's see, actually. Not a guy that really came up for me. Nope, I didn't get to Graves, even in my crunch. So, I think everyone will have Graves over Petrie? You're kidding. I mean, if that's the case. Well, we have Petrie projected for high ownership. There's no way. I mean, Petrie's going to be one of the most popular defensemen. Same with Weber. And they should be. They're both guys that record some peripherals. We have Shabbat right now as the highest owned defenseman. 5K, maybe you go Shabbat, Kachuk, Shabbat, Duclair. So I guess there's reasons why he would be expected to have high ownership, but he's 5K still. Like I guess he's my favorite defenseman on Ottawa, but that's not really saying much. I don't think I'm going to get too close to where we have Shabbat's ownership. Like maybe you get to like, I'm at about half of that right now. Yeah, it's not great, to be honest. Not my favorite. Let me put in this new ownership. Okay, so we have, wait a minute, did Alex update this again? Yeah. Okay, Alex updated this again. Okay, so Shabbat is at, yeah, okay, these are right. My other screen, I hadn't refreshed it. No power play for, no power boat for Graves, power play, yeah. Exactly, that's why it's easy. I mean, it's easy for me. Like, yeah, it's chalkier to play Petrie. Maybe people will think they're sneaky playing Graves or whatever. We can get to that game right now. This game, Montreal's going to be my highest exposed team by a mile. I think there's 3 viable lines. Not really dipping down to the 4th line. But, yeah, it's such a good spot. Nilsson has the huge performance in him where he stands on his head. But he's going to get lit up every once in a while too. And I know Ottawa's playing well, or like they haven't been terrible, but they're still bad defensively. And this seems like a spot where Montreal 1 especially gets it going. And I think there's room for 2 or potentially 3 lines to do well here. Nothing like being at the dispensary, getting flour watching this. Like pot dispensary? Huh. That's a weird place to listen to this, but to each his own. I mean, sure. All right. Last game of the night. Flyers, Avs. Another NBCSN game. 2.8 implied total for the Flyers. 3.3 for the Avs. Carter Hart and Pavel Francouz going for the Avs. Yeah, man, running short on time. I get it. Yeah. Got to do what you got to do. That's why we have this on YouTube, and you can watch it after. So you don't have to watch live necessarily. Oh, by the way, I see actually a bunch of you are in here today. Interesting for a 3-game slate. So thank you all for watching. If you could give us a thumbs up below this video here, that would be fantastic. That would help us out. That would help me out a lot. Nice to see a lot of you showing up for the short slates. So thank you once again. Your support really does help us continue to do this for free, which is awesome. Okay. So we have Colorado 1. They're pretty affordable here, but no Lindblom for the Flyers. So that means, yeah, doubles for Cup. I think pretty good PP1 spot for Flyers. So that means, well, for the Flyers, it meant let's just scrap everything and let's go with our top guys, right? Our top guys, all on the top line: Couturier, Giroux, Voracek. So I have a guess, at least as far as how this plays out. You put Couturier with Giroux and Voracek right on this line because, well, number one, they're going to play a bunch. Like that has to be the case because McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen are going to play a ton. So they're going to have no choice but to have them up against the Couturier line for a bunch of that time. Now, yeah, Colorado's going to have times where they can, if the 4th line's out or the 3rd line's out and there's an icing or whatever for Philadelphia, yeah, they're going to put on McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. They're still going to get them in good spots. But I think the reason you do this is just to fight fire with fire and to try to get good matchups or get Couturier out on the ice against McKinnon by just putting them out there for a ton of time. And it's a pretty good spot, honestly. McKinnon, Landeskog, and, well, they're better defensively with Rantanen and Landeskog. Obviously, it's not just McKinnon trying to drag or carry Donskoy and whoever else, Calvert or whatever. So it's a little bit different. They're better defensively. But you're getting a good price on Philly 1. McKinnon, probably my highest owned forward on the slate. Shocking, I know. I play this guy like whenever. It doesn't really matter for me. For McKinnon, he's just so good. He's such a good one-off. Even at high ownership, like I'm finding it still that he allows me to make the best lineups, even when he's a one-off or in a two-man with Landeskog or Rantanen. So while I prefer to stack up Colorado 1 as a full stack, a lot of people do, and that does handcuff you a little bit. So I'm playing a lot of two-mans, playing some three-mans, and then playing a bunch of McKinnon one-offs. I am a little bit worried that they're going to see extended time against Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek, but I think McKinnon, there's a good chance he just gets his against whoever, and probably he's just always live for the 5-shot bonus, plays a million minutes. So he's the guy I'm least worried about. I like Philly 1. It just kind of makes it easier as far as the guys I want to target. So what this also did is moved Van Riemsdyk up to a line with real players, not playing the fourth line. So 4,100 is a pretty good value for him. He's up there with Duclair as kind of my favorite one-off guys in this mid-tier. I also like pairing Frost with him. Frost, Van Riemsdyk. Hopefully these lines stick. This quote-unquote second line for the Flyers is just kind of whatever for me. Not one that I'm going to get to a ton. On the road, probably seeing some time against Kadri, Burakovsky, Donskoy. I thought the numbers for Kadri, Burakovsky, and Donskoy were better. I guess they haven't played a ton because we've had Rantanen and Landeskog out for a while, so the lines have been all messed up since like late October. So I guess they haven't had a ton of time to play together. And I can't remember either Burakovsky or Donskoy, I think, was out for a while at the beginning of the season. Anyways, not important. The numbers are not as good as I thought. That being said, you expect them to be good offensively. I don't think there's a matchup that is bad for them here outside of Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek, and I kind of already said my thoughts on who I think gets matched up the most, and that's the McKinnon line against Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek, because I think Philly is just going to force their hand and just say, all right, this line's going to play 22 minutes, or I guess they'll be out there for 22 minutes. They might play nearly 20 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time. Maybe that's a bit extreme, but you get the point. Like, they're going to try to get Couturier out against McKinnon without the benefit of last change. And if Colorado decides not to do that, well, that just means they're playing the McKinnon line less because Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek are going to play a ton of minutes here. So that's how I'm anticipating this game going from a matchups perspective. Kadri, Burakovsky, and Donskoy is a pretty good value, though. So I like them as the full stack. My favorite one-off guy on that line is, I think it's Kadri. Yeah, it is Kadri, actually. That's the guy I'm getting to the most. He's on the top power play. So back on his rightful spot. I'm probably going to have some lineups that are like McKinnon, Rantanen, Kadri instead of Landeskog to try to get some different combos. Still got the Sam Girard conundrum here. I mean, we tried to warn you last time, and I played him a bunch last game. I think I was around where the field was at. Girard is not a good player for DFS, but it is a good situation. So if McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen go off, or if even the second line, maybe if they go off, Girard's got a decent chance of getting in on it and at least being not killing you for 3,300. Where's his ownership at? Yeah. So we've got his ownership pretty low right now. I think you can probably bump him up manually if you're doing that, or just in your head. Just be aware, he's going to be popular with Colorado 1 because of the correlation he allows you to get. Cal Rosen is a guy I'm getting to a couple times. I probably shouldn't even have mentioned him because it's like a few percentage points. Graves at 4,100. I don't know, dude. I'm just not going there. I don't think. I like Cole and Rosen a little bit if you're punting. Graves at 41, no power play time. I know he's been good or whatever, getting decent ice time and getting shots on goal and that. And the game logs look fancy lately, but yeah. It's just the recency bias. I'm just not a big fan of that. Does Graves play a lot with line 2? I haven't checked on that. Mikko Rantanen? No, he's not too much. 72. Like I said, I'm not playing a lot of Landeskog and Rantanen one-offs. Like McKinnon's my anchor. So if I'm playing Rantanen or Landeskog, that means I'm probably playing McKinnon with them. At least McKinnon and maybe the other winger as well. People talking about Nichushkin, 2,700. He's still not playing a lot, but he's 2,700. He's scoring a couple goals lately. That third line is super cheap. It is what it is. It's a cheap third line with the team with one of the better implied totals on the slate. Yeah, great. No, Graves has been getting involved. I've seen a bunch of the beats writing about how, like, when he's on the ice, good things happen and such and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's like a bad player. I just think for DFS at 4,100, if people are just going to jam him in because they've had success doing so, I'll take the other guys. I'll take Cole. Like I said, I like him a little bit better. Rosen, if you need a min salary punt. You got Braun on the other side for min salary. I'm not getting to much of any of the Flyers defensemen though. Gostisbehere at 3,900. You're basically just playing him for the power play. I don't know what kind of minutes we're going to see out of him. Provorov and Niskanen probably going to skate the most with Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek, so might be a chance to get a little bit unique with your combo there. It's kind of gross on the Flyer side for defensemen. At least that's how I'm seeing it. Sanheim is forever 2,700, but I'm not finding it all that necessary to get to him. I like the other guys. I like the Av side if you're going for cheap D-men. What else am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing talking about something. Kind of rambled here for almost an hour, actually. 53 minutes we've been on. So if you guys got any more questions, feel free to drop them in. Thank you for giving us likes. That does really help us out. Like we always say, it really does. Whoa, I took down the $10 last night. Thank you for all of your assistance. Nice. That's awesome, man. Oh, it's your Scotty Mac something. I think you had a bad logo there. You need to get a new avatar. I'll just put it like that. But no, I'm kidding, man. Yeah, great lineup. Nice job. That's awesome. You did the work. You put the lineups in. So thank yourself. That's pretty cool. Always, it's really tough to take down those tournaments. So if you guys want to check out NHL ownership projections, right here. Those are free today. I know it's a short slate, but get a peek behind the paywall. We also have projections, ownership projections. No kidding. Slack chat, premium articles from Bots and Wassel and Cliffy, and NFL ownership projections, also free today. NBA DFS live blog. If you're playing some NBA tonight, might be a good chance to check out Alex's opinions on news and notes for the NBA today. I think I'm going to be playing some NBA if I get around to it. Let's see. I got to go pick up a bunch of stuff I ordered at Target today. They were offering some deal, so I made a bunch of impulse household item purchases or whatever. So I got to go do that, and then maybe I'll fire up some degenerate NBA lineups and donate some money to you guys playing NBA. Yeah, there you go. Germ6908 is right. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, get back in Slack then. Now you can afford the membership. If you guys want to become a member, promo code Hit the Ice is only lasting for a couple more days, as far as I understand. There will be more information on that if you are a subscriber to the email newsletter then you will get some more information on that within the next coming days. But take advantage of that if you're looking to join monthly, because that is not going to last very long. Shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Thank you for sponsoring us. They are offering some pretty nice contests in various different sports. 12.5% management fee in their premier 35K NBA baller. They've also got $12 that I've been playing a bunch, and just printing money over on Yahoo. It feels like every time I have a bad night at DK, I look at my Yahoo winnings and I 3x'd or something like that. Kind of kidding, but not really. Like, it is just softer over there. So go play and use promo code AWESEMO. When you do so, Carlo best 25K, D-Man. Man, pickings are slim. I guess I'll take. Wait, is Kulak? Where's this guy? I didn't even mention him. Kulak's fine. Carlo's okay. I'm actually probably playing the most of Cal Rosen at 2,500. So I guess that would be my pick. But yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Nolan and I will be back tomorrow. I think we have a pretty big slate. We had 12 last night. What do we got tomorrow? Another 12. There we go. So Nolan and I will try to get through it in about an hour. We'll recap tonight's action. Hopefully one of you, again, taking it down that watches the stream. That'd be pretty cool. And good luck tonight, guys. Go watch the Deeper Dive now.